Well guys, in front of me, as you can see, I have a table full of stuff. In today's video, what I'm going to be doing is going through this stuff and showing you guys how I would pack and ship it. This was suggested by a viewer and I think it's a really cool idea, so I'm very excited to get into this. I've got all the different size boxes and packing material that I use on my left here, so I'll be able to go through it all with you guys. This is about to be really fun. Really quick though, I do have to mention, if you guys haven't already hit the like button on this video, be sure to do that. It helps out greatly with the YouTube algorithm, as well as leaving a comment down below as to what you think, how you would have done things differently, and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Let's jump right into this. So the first item, guys, is sitting right in front of me. This is a Canon camera, and it looks like it's got a lens with it as well. Now these things can be fragile. They're a little bit more delicate. It's probably an expensive electronic. I'm not sure what this one's listed for. But you know, we're gonna want to pack this one with some care. Now I get this great bubble wrap. I get rolls of like, I don't know, 150, 175 feet of it at a time, and it rips off in squares of 12 by 12 inches. And that's probably something that I would start with. I take a couple of those squares and wrap it around the camera and wrap it around the lens as well to make sure that they're well padded and protected. Then I'm probably opting for something like this. This is an 8x6x4 box that I get from eBay, and this is probably gonna protect it the best. We can see that's right about the size that you would need. I might actually go for something a little bit higher so I can fit the entire camera in and have some room for protected, you know, paper or whatever. Actually, you know what? It's an expensive item. Why don't we step it up a bit, maybe to the 12x6x6? And I think that would fit it real nice and give us lots of room for putting in some packing paper to protect the item. And that, guys, is probably gonna go regular parcel or expedited parcel depending on what the buyer paid for, and that's about as easy as that one is. Next up here, guys, a Barbie NES cartridge. I'm not sure why I chose the Barbie one, but anyway, this is a kind of item that's probably not gonna be too expensive and that you're not gonna be shipping as a parcel. And it gets a little bit tricky with the old cartridge games because some of them will fit in the slot and some of them won't. But for a game like this, and I can kind of use this video game here to compare it, we can see that they're basically the same exact height, so even with the bubble wrap, they're probably gonna make it in the slot. So how would I approach this one? Since this is not a very expensive game, this one's probably going in the slot, just with a layer of bubble wrap on each side. And that would be built into something like this bubble mailer right here. I think this one is 9 by 7.5 inches. It's like a size 0. And this would give us great protection for a game like this. If I drop it in like that, we can see that we could seal that up and that would go right through the slot. Now there's going to be cases where these games are more expensive, and in that case I'm going to want to protect them a little bit more because that's not very well protected, so I'm probably going to put a couple layers of bubble wrap on it and maybe even put it in a box. And of course in that case we're going with regular parcel or expedited shipping. In fact, do I have another game here? Okay, here we are, guys. This is a Super Nintendo game, and as we can see, and again I'm not sure why you guys can see this, but this game has this sort of bump out here, which makes it quite a bit taller than the NES game. So that's not gonna work in the slot. I'm gonna bet you that that's just too big. So anything like this, unfortunately, is gonna have to be sent as a regular parcel. So for cheaper ones, I'm probably gonna end up doing a lot of NHL games or something so I can actually make it worth it for the buyer with the higher shipping cost. Next up, we got this blue VTech phone, and these are pretty easy for me to ship. I ship these all the time, and the way that I like to do it is I take the phone off the base, I wrap that with one layer of bubble wrap, and then I just usually leave the base open. This is again where this 8x6x4 box would come in handy, and as you can see, this item will fit nice and easily in there. I can throw in the phone and I can actually close that up, and that's gonna go really easily. And it's a pretty small box for what it is. So yeah, again, regular parcel, expedited parcel, whatever the buyer pays for, and that's again a really easy one to send out. Okay guys, the classic emoji patch. I already know I'm gonna get in trouble for what I'm about to say with this one, but bear with me here. I used to sell a lot of patches back in the day, and the way that I always used to ship them was using a letter. Now I know people are gonna say they're for paper only or cardboard only, but when you look at the actual dimensions on this thing, it's no thicker than a piece of cardboard, for example, a card or a piece of money. So realistically, there's gonna be no catch-ups. I've shipped these all the time using this, and I've never had an issue with it. Never had one sent back, never had an issue with it been too thick, so I'd probably just end up doing this. And that guy's gonna get a $7 permanent stamp, and it will be sent right off just like that. And again, this isn't gonna need any protection or anything. I mean, it's not gonna get damaged, so it's just gonna go in there and be on its way. All right, I knew these would come up. We've got video games next, and here we've got a copy of Minecraft for the Xbox 360. If you guys have been here on the channel for a while, you've seen me pack plenty of these every single day, and of course I'm going back to my 9 by 7.5 bubble mailers. I get these in bulk, by the way, about 500 at a time from the States. I got a good supplier down there, and you can get them all over the place. Uline, the dollar store, size 0, whatever the case, but I like to pay really cheap on mine, so that's why I order them in such a high bulk. Game slides right into that guy. I seal it up just with the tab there, and then I go ahead and I can put the buyer's address on it there. and put a couple stamps on it. This would cost us, I'm gonna guess, actually this one doesn't have a manual, I'm gonna guess it'd be under 100 grams, so we'd probably get away with a $1.94 stamp. But if it was over 100 grams, below 200, we're paying $3.50 or $3.55. Is it $3.60 now with tax? I think it's something like that. $3.19 is the stamp price or the rate before tax, so that's how much that would cost to ship out. Okay, sticking with the video game theme, guys, we've got a copy of Forza Motorsport 4 for the Xbox 360. This is the loose disc. I sell a lot of these as well, and the way that I like to send these is not dissimilar to how I do the games in cases, but it's a little bit different. What I usually do is I take a piece of cardboard. If I don't have an extra CD case or whatever, I take a piece of cardboard and I put it behind here. I just tape it on, and that just gives it a little more rigidity, so then when it's going through the mail, it's not getting bent and could potentially break. So I like to protect against that by putting something strong behind it, but still keeping it thin enough they can go through the slot. Almost every time I ship these, they're under 100 grams, so I would take, again, my trusty 9 by 7.5 bubble mailer, and I would go ahead and drop it in there with the cardboard on it, and it would ship for $1.94. Next up, this red PS4 controller. Always exciting to see these, and this is, again, a fairly simple one. This gets wrapped with 1 or 2 layers of bubble wrap and then put back into our trusty 8x6x4. These perfectly fit remotes, and I don't usually put them that way. I put them this way, and they fit very well in there, as you can see, and it gives them lots of room for protection but still keeps it very small. If I was being ambitious, maybe this was an international order or something, I might go down to this 6x4x4 box, and these actually do fit inside of them. It's just very tight. I've shipped out Xbox 360 controllers in these before. As you can see, when you open it up here, you just have enough room to kind of force it in there, and it does work, but it's not really worth it. The price is going to be the same for both of them for the most part within Canada, so I just end up using the slightly bigger box, make sure it's well protected. Do you guys see a trend coming on here yet? Mainly I'm using the 8x6x4 boxes and the bubble mailers, and that's basically what I flip between for majority of the orders that I send. Okay, here's an interesting one, guys. We've got this PlayStation 3 console bundle here. And this one I've actually only recently found a solution to shipping all of my consoles with. This thing is huge. eBay doesn't make a box like this, and it doesn't say the dimensions on it, but I ordered these from Staples, and that's just to fit consoles. So I got like the perfect size that I like for putting all my console bundles in, and this is what I've been using. I know the dimensions of these in centimeters, and I think it's about 50 by 35 by 20 centimeters in total there. And these work very well for putting any sort of consoles into. They're usually around 5 or 6 kilograms. And that is a really good box for that. So this is what I've been using for all my consoles. We were shipping out tons and tons of Xbox 360 bundles, and we were using these boxes for them. Before that, we were just grabbing whatever cardboard we can find and kind of making our own boxes, and it was a big mess. So I'm glad that we now have these. I think I have 30 or 40 of them in total here, and I've been putting all the consoles that we're selling with all the cables and controllers in these. But again, like everything that I send out, I'm going to be wrapping this in bubble wrap, and then I'm going to be filling the box with probably newspaper or packing paper to protect the item. Moving on here, guys, we have a Lego set. This is from Disney line, and these are pretty easy to ship as well. Now let me make one thing clear, because this has happened to me a few times when I've ordered things from Amazon, for example, and they'll send something like this in a poly mailer, for example, which is just not the way to go, because the box is going to get damaged. Not to mention some people, and not for Lego specifically, but if you have a product in a box, some people will just slap a shipping label on the actual product box and ship it out that way, and that's not the way to go. Something like this, you want to make sure that it's inside a box and protected, so when the buyer gets it, it's in a like new condition. Especially for something like this, it could be considered collectible. It's just not something that you want to ship out of a box. Definitely make sure that you put it inside of a box. What kind of box would I use, you might be asking? I'd probably go with either this 12x6x6 from eBay or this 10x8x6 from eBay. These are both great options for when I'm shipping out these sort of things. As you can see here, this one basically perfectly fits here within the 12x6x6 box. And that's a really good size to use, just a little bit of packing paper around it. I don't have to bubble wrap this. It's not gonna get too damaged. Just wanna make sure that it's not moving around inside the box. Do I have to say it again, guys? Expedited or regular parcel, as you do with all the boxes that you're shipping within Canada when using Canada Post, and it's a very easy one to pack up and ship. Finally, guys, we've got something a little bit more exciting here to pack. This is a Guitar Hero guitar. And these can be a little bit tricky. I've sold lots of these over the days, and there's two sort of models that you're gonna run into. The one model, which I actually quite enjoy shipping, has a little latch right here that you can spin, and the actual top of the guitar here will come off. And then what I like to do with those is I like to just put the top on top of the base here, kind of wrap it all in bubble wrap together, and I can get those in most regular size boxes. For example, the console box I showed you guys, or even some of the larger eBay boxes would actually fit this. However, the specific model that I chose here today doesn't have that latch mechanism, which means that this is going to be shipped as is, which means that we're gonna need a pretty tall box. Now, I don't order special boxes for something like this, but I've actually shipped one of these recently, and I want to show you guys how I did it. So I believe what I ended up doing was using 2 or 3 of these 12x6x6 eBay boxes, and these are really nice because what I can do is I can build the bottom half, but I can leave the top open, and then what I can do is I can take another box and stack it right on top of it, kind of slide it into each other, tape around the seam. So I would put another box on top of this, tape around it, and then if I need another one, I can actually add another one of that as well, and then I can close the top on that, and then I can slide the guitar basically right inside of this big stack of boxes, kind of wrap them all together, and I've got myself a nice guitar box. And I mean, look at how perfect that is. That's gonna fit this guitar very well, probably better than any box I would buy from the store. And again, sometimes you just gotta improvise and make your own boxes. When you're done with it, I also like to wrap it up and down so I can get a really strong box out of it as well. I don't want this falling apart when it's in transit, but again, you're filling it, probably wrapping it with bubble wrap and then filling it with packing paper. So it's a very simple thing to ship when you actually look at it that way. So that's all the items I actually have to show here, guys, but I do have one more honorable mention, and that's a poly mailer, which I really don't use that much, especially not one this large. This is a fairly large one. But what I like to do, there's a couple things that you could use these for. The one thing is you can kind of make your own bubble mailer out of them. So let's say that you have like a long, narrow item, whatever it might be, something that's just not working with the box size that you have. You can wrap it in a lot of layers of bubble wrap and then put it in one of these guys and essentially make your own bubble mailer. But even with that, I don't usually do that. I'm not really sending out many items in these. What I'm mainly using these for are clothing items or soft goods, but nothing that's hard. And the reason for that is because these are not durable at all. They don't provide any protection to your item, and things can get very easily damaged. For clothing, it's great. You can put a nice, basically protective layer around the pieces of clothing so they don't get wet in transport, but they're not fragile, so it's a great thing to use for those. But I really don't end up using these all too often. Okay guys, so that's gonna wrap up today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it and found some value in it. If you want to see a part 2 follow-up on this, maybe we do something discussing international shipping. Maybe we talk about some other strange items, not unlike the guitar, where it's really sort of tricky and trying to figure out how to ship them. If you guys want to see something like that in the future, be sure to let me know down below and I'll be sure to start working on it. With that said, again, if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to go below, leave a like on it, comment down below any suggestions, thoughts, what you would have done differently from me here, and again, subscribe to the channel if you are new. I will see you guys all in the next video.